control, grow the beat is involved.
Move your body.
Well, good evening to you. Good morning from me.
Yeah.
I'm in California, so it's 8:00 in the morning here.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's afternoon here, 5 p.m.
Okay.
So-
Well, let me, on behalf of the Golden Deck Awards Show, welcome you to our podcast interview. You are episode number 7, and we're really excited to have you join us. Thank you for that. So before we get into the questions for you, could we have you nominate another DJ within your genre and a second and third from a different genre?
So I think for my genre, I would probably choose a trios. I think that's how you say it. It's another music producer and DJ who also makes progressive house. And he's also become a friend of mine. He's from India and is a really great producer.
Awesome! I'll have to check him out.
And then for another category, I'll probably take Darksick. He makes like melodic deep house and also techno.
Okay.
He's also I've also spoken with him, and he's also a great friend of mine.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you for those nominations. So moving on to the question series here. You have a hobby playing the guitar. Have you thought about putting some of your riffs into your songs? And if you have already, but haven't released it, how come?
So I haven't released any tracks with one of my own guitar riffs yet. But I have made demos with my own guitar riffs and also some unreleased. But I feel like it's way harder when you have to also do it yourself. And I'm not like the best guitar player, but I have played it in a few years. Mm-hmm. But it's also like you have to take many retakes because like you have to get it right with the BPM, and sometimes you press the wrong strings and stuff like that. So it's like really tough. But I have tried, and I have one song where I'm working with one of my friends who's a top liner and singer. So we might put out that track when it's finished.
I'll be looking forward to it. I love hearing, artists and musicians kind of add their own taste and flair to it. You are your own worst critic. I bet it sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I'll keep an eye out for your new releases.
Thank you.
So you've been doing this for roughly 2 years. And looking back on day one, did you think that you would have these kinds of leaps and bounds that, kind of brought you to where you are now, especially maybe starting out at a, younger age?
So it's actually here the 3rd December. It was exactly 2 years ago since I released my first track.
Well, congratulations. Happy
you.
Anniversary.
Thank you. I started producing, I think it was 1 or 2 years before I released my first track, and I can already feel how much I've learned here in the past month. I've learned a lot. So like every single day you learn a lot more about producing. Also, I'm also a DJ, so I also learn a lot about DJing, and also also the marketing and the networking. But to be honest, I wish I would have probably started earlier than that, because I then would have more experience now and could have even made it bigger. But
But you're well on your way.
Yeah.
You're well on your
Yes,
way.
thank you.
You're committed. You're making progress. That's the best thing you can do for your career and yourself and your self-fulfillment. So where did you get your inspiration for Broken in the Rain?
So, Broken in the Rain, I found an a cappella. I think it was from a vocal pack I bought, and I really loved the vocals of that one, and so I wanted to make like a progressive house track, because back then I mostly just made progressive house, and I got really inspired by both another DJ and music producer called Fabulous from Italy, and also a guy called Severman, who is from Germany and also a producer and DJ. So that's the two who inspired me the most to make this emotional progressive house track.
But it's interesting because what kind of sparked it for you was those vocals, right? So it kind of ignited something in you maybe, and kind of led you to seek those other avenues to bring it to life.
Yeah, it's really funny because like sometimes it's just if I hear like a vocal that sounds so beautiful and powerful, then that's what gives me the inspiration. But other times it's just playing around with chords and finding something that sounds amazing, and then making a track and like making vocals afterwards. So
what a talent! What a talent! It's tough, to find the inspiration in those little kind of everyday sounds and moments and in passing. So great work. Good for you. It's a big talent, big skill to have. So what creation that you've made so far has surprised you with how popular it's gotten?
I would probably say Can't Replace You. It's my most listened to track, and it's a tropical house track where I got inspired by especially Mike Perry with his song Changes, and then I also got another producer to help me make it, but it has gone way better than I first expected. It's my most popular track right now, and has gotten, I think, almost 90,000 streams on Spotify. So yeah, that definitely gotta be it.
We'll definitely get those numbers up. So we will link all of your Spotify and all of your media on here so we can get more ears listening to your music. So do you think that there are less barriers for being a DJ in a different country compared to the US, especially since the scene kind of started over there in the 60s?
I haven't really been a DJ yet in the US, and it's mostly been here in Denmark. But I think in the US and also some other European countries, electronic music is way more popular than in Denmark. In Denmark, it's not really that popular. So I think like there are a lot more people who would like to listen to it and go to festivals with electronic music, and I think it's like a totally different vibe than here in Denmark when you go to electronic festivals.
Is it still kind of small groups and like less crowd, maybe older crowd?
I was at a Swedish House Mafia concert here in Denmark in September last year, and almost all the tickets were sold. But yeah, actually also something that surprised me was also how like there was a lot of people in their late 20s and early 30s, which is like way older than I actually expected. I expected it to be more like the younger generation around my age, but it was mostly older people. And that's also something I found really funny. But also it was back in like around 2010s where also pop music was also inspired a lot by EDM. And back then it was also really popular in Denmark, but now it has just slowly faded away, and now not too many people listen to it. So like when you play at clubs and parties as a DJ, you can play a lot of the like older nostalgic tracks, and then people love it. But otherwise, not too much.
Well, you gotta mix them in there. You ease them into it. You know, you give the people a little bit what they want, a little bit what you want, right?
Yes, exactly. I also like, as of what I've heard, it feels like also in the US rave culture is more a thing. Is it like a thing?
A little bit, but it's gonna be the older generation, like you said, the like late 20s, early 30s. I'm giving my age away here, but that's me. So later, older 20s. There's different kind of generations of rave culture. So with the older rave culture, you're gonna see more like the bracelets, the tutus, like the fur around the knees, ankles, legs. That's going to be like kind of the older generation. They have a set of values and morals, like the PLUR, plur, is very important. We like to take care of each other and kind of exhibit those values throughout the festival with everyone we meet. But then you kind of have the new ones that we're trying to introduce and bring into the plur fold. But they tend to kind of just be like EDM party scene, you know, with the big boots and the not very much clothing, and but that's okay, you know. So speaking about, you know, the different types of festivals, what is one festival that you're aiming to play at in the next couple of years, maybe?
So I think it might be a little bit ambitious, but I'd probably say my favorite festival and the one I'm dreaming to play at in my career is definitely Tomorrowland and also Ultra Festival. But especially Tomorrowland in Belgium. That's I really love Tomorrowland.
Beautiful stages too.
Yeah, but I would say probably one that would probably be possible is a festival here in Denmark called Smukfest. I don't know, you probably not heard of this.
No.
But it's one of the biggest festivals here in Denmark, and I also really love that festival.
Ooh, in the forest. That sounds
I also
nice.
think I think it was maybe Smukfest, which also has David Guetta and Morten here this year. 2024. I think it was
coming up.
Smukfest. Who's on the lineup?
Well, that looks nice. So let's shoot for Smukfest first, and then I'll catch you at Tomorrowland.
Yeah.
So what does your dream production look like? Can you describe it?
I think like I really love to make festival anthems in like progressive house, something that kind of like Martin Garrix has also done, and like all the other progressive house producers. But like something that maybe in the, like the breaks and verses, it's like a lot of ambience and a little bit more quiet, and then there's the big powerful build up and the big drop, and then after the first drop it like kind of slows down again and will be more quiet, and then a lot of ambience and maybe also some guitar riffs I've played. And I think that would probably be my dream production, and then also maybe like write it in major and make it like sound really beautiful with some beautiful vocals.
That sounds nice. You're definitely going to be my anthem guy. I'll keep you in mind for that. So when I need to get the crowd cheering, get people united, I'll reach out. I'm going to say, hey, Niffer, my anthem guy. So on a little bit of a more serious note, what kind of, mental obstacles did you maybe have to overcome to start your journey? Sometimes starting is the hardest part. And, how long would you say it took you to kind of give you that push to put out your music and just kind of, go for it? And I know this is getting a little long here, but kind of in the same scope of these things, what kind of advice, could you offer to somebody who's kind of dealing with that first, anxiety of putting themselves out there?
So, about the mental obstacles. So back then, when I started producing my own music, I had a lot of mental obstacles, and like I dealt with depression and anxiety, and also a breakup. So back then I also started just writing, like making lyrics for tracks and playing them on my guitar, not to release them or anything, but just it like kind of helped deal with the thoughts and my mental obstacles. And one of my favorite EDM songs is called One Life by Mike Perry. And I also listened a lot to that song, and the YouTube video for that song is from Never See Festival. And that's when I also like started producing my own music. And then I waited a year, was it a year or two before I released my first track, and I didn't really have too much thought about it when I tried releasing my first song, because I didn't really have a large audience on social media before, so I knew not too many people would listen to it back then, but I just put it out and like tried to promote it, and it got a few thousand streams. Then I just kept releasing stuff. So I didn't really think too much about putting the first song out and like the anxiety about what do people think about this song. I didn't really have that.
So you're just like a rip the Band-Aid off person. Just peel it off and go.
Yes. Also, like, no matter what, like, when you are a public figure and a public person, no matter who you are, you will get hate, and a lot of it. I've also seen, like, when other big DJs have promoted their music on TikTok, for example, I've seen, like, almost all the comments were just hate comments who hated the tracks, and those are some of the biggest music producers and DJs, and some of the songs I saw they promoted are some of the biggest songs ever. For example, I saw with I'm Good by David Guetta, which was released. I saw a promotional video and an ad for it on TikTok, and all the comments were just hate comments, but it still got like 1 billion streams on Spotify. So, like,
it's okay.
Just because you get hate, like, there's still a lot of people who can love your music. They're just not the ones who scream the loudest, so who want to hear them as much.
Well, I mean, you can always say at least thank you for helping me, spread the word about my music, and your hate is reaching, those who actually love my music.
Yeah, also, exactly. I also think it's like stupid to write hate comments, because if you hate the person, like, just by commenting, you are pushing the algorithm even more. So, like, it doesn't make sense to just hate on that person in the comments.
Let him hate.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess that's pretty good then. So, your advice is just peel the Band-Aid off and let him hate.
Yes.
It's gonna make your numbers go up anyway.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, kind of moving into this one's a fun one. I get to pick a question. Kind of what is my therapy is, restoring old BMWs, my favorite car ever. I have too many of them. So on that note, do you have a favorite car? And if not a car, then some other, mode of transportation?
Right now, unfortunately, don't have a car, but like I really love like some of Porsche.
Oh yeah.
Porsche. Some of those cars.
Beautiful.
Yeah. My stepfather, he has a Porsche Macan. Is that car and
it's
that
fun car, huh?
Yeah. It's a great car, and like just in general, I feel like Porsche, they make some incredible cars, and they are extremely beautiful. But I also really like BMW cars. So it might, in the start, it would probably rather be a BMW. You can get some cheaper ones than the Porsche.
Yeah.
So
that's why I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm there now. I'm working my way to the Porsche.
Yeah.
But no, actually, all of the ones that I keep there are classics. So they just turned, my car just turned 25, 1998. And I've owned it for almost 15 years now. So I've had it for a very long time.
Yeah.
Lots of love and care because they need a lot of work. But if you take care of them, they take care of you. And it's such a joy to drive. That's just a little bit about my, kind of way to work through my anxieties and stuff. You go for a nice drive and then, you break something and then you get to fix it. That's the fun part. I mean, to each their own. But I know in a lot of places it's not necessary to have a vehicle. But where I live here in California, public transportation is not what it should be. And you absolutely have to have a car to live around here. But I've also been to places where it's more of a nuisance than it is a benefit. So I get that. But you don't need a car. It's a lot of problems.
Yeah. I've also heard a lot in the US that in the big cities, you can't really the same way use public transport as you can, for example, here in Denmark and a lot of other European countries. Here in Denmark, most people don't have a car because they can use public transportation and also bicycles. Especially also Copenhagen is extremely famous for the bicycles. Yeah.
No, not so much. So Los Angeles here, they have public transportation, but it runs on a schedule. It's usually unreliable. The bikes, a lot of the people on the road don't respect the bicycles. It's very, very unsafe. They're starting to come out a lot more, those electric scooters and things. They're having some issues with that, but the public transportation here in America is not good. I've been to Brazil where you stand on the corner and every 10 minutes there's a bus or a van or a taxi. You don't need a car. Yeah. My family's from Brazil, so when I would visit, you don't need a car. There's no point. Yeah. There's no reason to have a car in Brazil. It's pointless. But in America, you have to. And as a young person, it was frustrating, right? Because you just want to go out and have fun and go to the mall with your friends and go watch movies, but you can't go because you don't have a car.
Yeah.
It's kind of irritating,
Yeah.
We're down to the last question already. So we moved through pretty quickly. If you could describe yourself as a painting, what would you look like? And why would you picture yourself that way?
That is a really great question, and I'm not really sure what I would picture, what I would describe myself as a painting, and what I would look like. But I feel like probably something that describes my growth as a person and all the things I've been through. Like I said, I have had depression and some very dark thoughts, and also just like when I was in school, I was bullied a lot, and like all of the things I've been through, like something that could describe those things, but I'm not really sure so much about like what the symbols mean in like art. It's mostly music, but so I'm not really sure like all the symbols and what they mean, but definitely something that like shows who I am as a person.
Let me try to visualize what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, and I get it, because sometimes it feels like chaotic, right? So maybe not necessarily like a painted depiction of yourself. So is that what you mean? Kind of like darkness and like music symbols with like kind of some light coming from them. So no existing painting, right? Then something kind of manifested from your energy.
Yeah, and maybe something like a tree or something that grows and like in the bottom of the tree is maybe more dark, and then it gets brighter when it gets up, like how kind of grows away from. It could be something like that, maybe.
I'm picturing it. It. That's beautiful. Yeah, I get that. I can see that. It's not sometimes like it's not always a face. You know, it's an embodiment of something. So that's awesome. That's definitely different, and I can see that you've kind of built a lot of, you know, positivity from some of the negative experiences in your past. But you know what? A lot of times the most messed up people are the coolest people you'll meet. Well, I mean, do you have any other questions for me? Is there any comments, any kind of promos you want to drop? Now's a good time to do that.
So first of all, thank you for having me, and thank you for nominating me for the award.
You're very welcome.
I'm really excited about that. On all my social medias, I'm called Niffer, Niffer. You can find me on Spotify, all your music streaming platforms, and you can also find me on Instagram and TikTok, where I'm called Niffer Music, and I also just joined Threads. It's finally in Europe, so I can finally join Threads now.
Welcome to Threads.
Thank you. And so I'm also on Threads now, linked to my Instagram, and also have a Facebook page. I think it was also called Niffer Music.
All over. So we'll add links to all of this in the bio for the video. You guys look out for Niffer, and follow, also, like, and subscribe.
So I also have a YouTube channel, and it's it's different stuff I post on both TikTok, Instagram / Threads, and also YouTube. On YouTube, I make a lot of bootlegs and remixes which you can't find anywhere else, and also like make tutorials and challenges, like how to making a progressive house track or something in like 1 hour and stuff like that.
Oh, cool! Fun.
Yeah. And on Instagram, it's mostly about like promoting new music and also networking with other artists. And on TikTok, it's also promoting music, but also like jokes and using some of the sounds and making jokes and memes. So yeah,
fun stuff. But different things. So that takes a lot of effort. I appreciate you putting in the effort to make sure that you have, original content and new media for each platform, keeping your viewers and listeners engaged and excited. Thank you so much for joining us, and it's been a pleasure chatting with you, and have a good rest of your evening. Happy holidays to you and your family. Thanks. And best of luck to you in the future. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So I'm gonna get you back. You're in my life for a reason, I know it. I'm calling it an audible, looking for a miracle. Why'd I ever let you go? Somehow I know it's gonna be fine for now. I just gotta get by. Time's never wasted, it only runs out. So tell me somehow I lost you. I lost you. I lost you. Well, tell me somehow. The way you look at me, staring back at those ocean eyes, blinded by the love I couldn't see.